Just go ahead and take your praise, put it in your little pocketbook or your wallet, and you can pull it out when you get home. But just because it's See, let me give you one more. Can I give you one more? See, I try to keep giving God praise. I want it to be a routine in my life. And I don't just do it on Sunday mornings. I'll do it on Monday, I'll do it on Tuesday, I'll come in the workplace on Wednesday, I'll do it in my car on the way home Thursday and Friday. I'll wake up on Saturday with a praise. And let me tell you the reason why. I believe in storing up praises for rainy days. The Bible says that I will bless the Lord. I got some Bible readers in here. His praises shall continually be in my mouth. Let me tell you the emphasis. I believe that David, when he wrote that psalm, he meant to say, I will bless the Lord at all, with the emphasis on all. Somebody else argued and said, no, the emphasis is on I, because sometimes I get in the way of my praise. And I have to encourage myself, I'm going to do it. I'm not going to let anybody else do it. Somebody else said that the emphasis is on real. In other words, sometimes you get up and you don't feel like giving God the praise. That's why I send up my praises in advance. It's called advance credit praise. So that even when I don't feel like it, I praise God enough on yesterday that it will remind me of how good he's been on today. And because I'm shouting right now on credit. How many people have been shouting God on credit? You've been counting up for just this moment, and you might not feel like it. But when you think of the goodness of Jesus and all this stuff, your soul cries out, hallelujah! Thank God for saving me. You may be seated in this place. Thank you. Thank you. God bless 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 you. Mother's Day gift ever. If I could title this a subtitle, I would say verse 13. Turn to the person next to you and say verse 13. Verse 13. God bless you. Thank you. Ushers, thank you so much for those of you that are serving. No doubt, a lot of time and effort has been put into finding the best Mother's Day gift for 2016. Some of you have really given a lot of thought and time and effort. You've listened to Mama drop hints all year long. You've read her, what she said and what she didn't say. You've looked around the house to see what she has a need for. And you've been searching for the best Mother's Day gift to honor your living mother. Truth be told, some of us have gone even the lengths of personalizing cards and different things that would bring a smile to our mother's heart. Some of us have gone a step further and even asked Mama, Mama, what is it that you want? Because whatever it is that you want, I'll just go out and buy it and I'll give it to you. And then some of us have decided, you know what, there's nothing more that I can give Mama that she don't already have. So I'm just gonna show up and spend some time with her. And she may not say much, but just the joy of having you sit there and spend some time with her is enough of a gift. Yeah. But in the text on today, there lies perhaps the best Mother's Day gift that a mother could possibly receive. I looked at the text on today and I see that the text opens up in a city called Nain. Nain was about 6 miles away from Nazareth. And if you continue to read the text, you run into a couple of dichotomies. For those of you that are English majors, you know that a dichotomy is something that exists in the same. It's two parallels, two opposites, if you would. The first dichotomy I see is that there are two crowds. The second dichotomy is that I see that there are two emotions. And two crowds and two emotions. Also, I look and see that there are two sons. Can I talk to you about these two dichotomies? Or these three dichotomies, rather. There are, first of all, two crowds that collide. There are also two emotions that clash. And there are two sons that connect. Now, I'm halfway through the text right now, but I wanted to set this up for you real pretty so you'll see what I'm talking about. Two crowds that collide. Here's a crowd coming into the city. Jesus and his boys, if you would, are coming into the city of Nain. And he's got a crowd around him because it's been buzzed that there's a man in town giving sight to the blind. And folks are crowded around Jesus, and he's coming into the city. As he's coming into the city, there's a group or crowd that's going out of the city. And this crowd is surrounding a woman who is grieving. She's a widow, if you would, and she's grieving because not only has she lost her husband, but she's now lost her only son. And the crowd is around her, and they're consoling her, and they're on their way to bury, if you would, her son. So two crowds collide. But then when two crowds collide, two emotions collide. Here's Jesus coming in town with a whole set of emotions of joy. But here's a woman leaving the town of Nain with emotions of pain. It's kind of like joy and pain. It's like sunshine. I knew you would wake up now. And rain. Two emotions collide. Two groups clash. Two emotions clash and collide. And here it is. At the moment of that collision, there are two sons that connect. Here it is. One is dead and about to be made alive. And one is alive and about to die. Here it is, the son of the widow is dead, but just in a few more verses is about to be made alive. Here it is, the Son of God, Jesus, is alive, but just in a few more chapters is going to be dead, but then made alive again. It's a dichotomy. It messes you up when you read the text and understand that here it is, you've got clashing of emotions, clashing of crowds, and clashing of sons. And upon a closer look, you find that there are two main characters. One of them is a grieving mother. The other one is a gracious God. Can I pause right there? I love it when grieving mothers run into gracious gods. because it changes the whole scheme and scope of everybody's life. Whenever a grieving mother runs into a gracious God, all of a sudden everything that looked one way changes in a matter of seconds. Here it is, this grieving mother. She's grieving because of the fact that, number one, she's already a widow. So she's without substance. She's without substance. And here it is, the only source of income, her son, is now dead. And so really, she's now going to be faced with doing one thing, and that is begging for bread the rest of her life. Because the Jewish customs had it that a woman couldn't work. And so she had to be taken care of by either the eldest son or by the husband. But the eldest son is gone, and the husband is gone, and there's no other closer relatives. And if anything was left behind as an inheritance, it went to the father's side or the husband's side of the family, not to the wife. Somebody shake your head and say, that's a shame, that's a shame, that's a shame. She was grieving, and here it is. She runs into a gracious God. This gracious God, here it is, Jesus comes on the scene and interrupts a perfectly good funeral. Jesus shows up and ruins the perfection of a funeral. It was perfect because they had hired the mourners to go behind the crowd, and they were hired to do one thing, to wail and cry, even if they didn't mean it. They were hired to grieve and to set the emotion. It was expensive. It was perfect because they had a dead body. You need a dead body for a funeral. You need to have that, and all the things were in place. But I love it when God interrupts our pretty little programs. Kind of like what he did today. It's almost like he says, you know what, I know you said this is first and this is second and this is third, but I've got my own agenda. God will interrupt your pretty little program in your life, and he will insert what he wants so that he's glorified. She was a grieving mother, and she ran into a gracious God. But this is not the first time that Jesus has interrupted a funeral. You remember reading in the text when he was called to Jairus' house, and Jairus' daughter was at the point of death. And he dismissed everybody out, and he told her, no, she ain't dead, she's just sleeping. And he speaks life into the Jairus' daughter and tells us, get up and rise. I tell you, he has a way of interrupting folks' funerals. You remember he was called to Lazarus, and he purposely didn't go see his best friend Lazarus for a long time. Then when he shows up, they know he was dead. Mary and Martha come out shaking their bony little fingers saying, if you had shown up in time, my brother wouldn't be dead. He said, that's okay, show me where the body is. They take him to where the body is, and the old preacher said if he hadn't called Lazarus by his name, everybody would have got up. If he had just said, get up, everybody would have got up. But he says, Lazarus, get up. He has a way of messing up folks' funerals. But in verse 14, notice something, and I'm almost finished. Jesus speaks life to a dead body. And then in verse 15, the Bible says that he gave her back her son. Now, when I look at verse 15, it makes me understand that Jesus is a gracious God. But notice back in verse 13, in the King James Version, the gospel writer inserts the same pronoun 3 times as he describes the actions of his character. In other words, when you look at verse 13 says, when the Lord saw her, his heart went out to her. And he said, in the King James Version, to her, don't cry. Same pronoun, her, but used 3 times. He saw her, he heard her, and he cared for her. Now understand something, I want you to see this. I thought that the best Mother's Day gift was the son that he brought back to life and gave her, because when you give a gift, it's you give a gift. I thought that the best gift was when he gave the son back to the mother. Amen. But then God had to get me to look at it in a different way. He says, yeah, giving the son back to a mother, and it was lost at one time. Don't get me wrong, that's a good gift. But the best gift was in verse 13. I said, how so? So I kept on reading. It says, he saw her, he heard her, and he cared for her. The best gift wasn't the son being brought back to the mother. The best gift that this woman could have ever received was when a grieving widow caught the attention of a gracious God. It caught so much of the attention that he heard her, saw her, and cared for her. Y'all, I'm almost through. I'm almost through. In other words, Jesus confronts death and defies the power of death and gives back this woman's son. He interrupts what she's getting ready to bury. It's dead, has no life, and she's getting ready to bury it. Some of us can relate to that. You have something that's dead, but you hadn't quite buried. Can I help you on this morning? The son is significant of anything in her life that she's lost, that's dead, but not quite buried. In other words, here it is. There are times that you've lost hope, but you haven't buried your hope. There are times that we will lose provision, can't pay my bills, but I hadn't buried my lack of provision. There are times that you'll lose support. The people that were there with you at the beginning, but they're not with you right now. But I hadn't buried the fact that I have no support. In other words, I might be on my last straw, but that doesn't mean I'm ready to bury it just yet. Somebody came through the doors of the church on the day with a lost job, but you hadn't buried the fact that you still can be employed. Somebody lost an opportunity to be promoted, but God still hadn't buried the fact that He has a promotion in your future. There's somebody ready to write themselves off for the ministry that they're in, but God said, don't bury it just yet. I'm still in the presence of the city, and even though it might be dead, you haven't buried it just yet. Even though some of y'all are sitting here saying, I ain't got nothing that's dying, I ain't got nothing that's on the way to be buried. Well, let me show you something here in the text. Even if you can't relate to that, then the reality that there was a son that was brought back to life. I told you there were two main characters, a widow and a gracious God, a grieving mother and a gracious God. But there's actually four characters. The dead body of the son is a third character. But the truth be told, the fourth character is you and me. You may not see it. You're in the text. Look back at your Bible. You don't see your name, but you're in there. Because in the Bible it says that the young man was dead. But when Christ came in contact with him, He pronounced life in his body. He was dead, but then he lived again. Good God from on high. Y'all don't get it here. The best gift, I know it's Mother's Day, but men, you got a gift on today as well. Because somebody in here, like myself, we were on our way to hell. But God, good God from on high, God just interrupted somebody's funeral just then and spoke life into your body. In other words, you thought that it was over with. But God said, I will take the program that the devil had for you, and you were dead in your trespasses and sin, and I will turn around and give you the best gift that you ever had. The best gift is this: God sees, hears, and cares for us. So much so that, watch this, the woman never asked Jesus, bring my son back to life. She just was grieving so that it got the attention of God. God said, all the crying you've been doing, all the frustration you've been meeting with, God said it's not in vain, because I've been seeing, I've been hearing, and I care about what you're going through. Can I minister to a couple of women in here today? If you're in the house and you're a single mother and you're tired and put out with the way life has been, you've been struggling and straining, struggling and straining, and it seems like you can't get ends to even look at each other, and you're mad at the jokers